Okay, so we all grow up, right? Some of us as boys, some as girls. It seems like a pretty simple fact of life, but what if the roles we're taught to play are anything but simple? Today, we're going to dig into how society shapes us, right from the very beginning, often in ways we don't even realize.
So it all starts with a simple comment, something you'd hear a kid say. Harmeet's mom doesn't work. Now, is that a fact? Or is it an assumption? One that's based on a really ingrained idea of what work actually means. And this is where the whole story kind of flips on its head. What if all that unpaid stuff happening at home, what if that isn't not working at all? What if it's some of the most demanding, most difficult labor there is? Let's dive into that.
To really get why we tend to devalue certain kinds of work, we have to go way back to the very beginning, to see how different societies teach boys and girls what's expected of them long before they're even thinking about a career. You know, what feels completely natural and universal to us is often just what we're used to. And to really see this in action, we're going to time travel a bit and look at two completely different childhoods from history, starting with the Samoan Islands back in the 1920s.
So picture this, Samoa, 1920s. Life is totally different. Kids aren't in school, they're learning by doing. I mean, 5-year-olds are already taking care of their younger brothers and sisters. And get this, in the special cooking houses, it was actually the boys who were expected to do most of the cooking. Okay, now this is where it gets really fascinating. Let's compare that Samoan life with growing up in Madhya Pradesh, India in the 1960s. Here, you had separate schools for boys and girls. The girls' school was built for seclusion, right? It had a central courtyard so they'd be safe. Meanwhile, the boys' school had this big open playground. For girls, the street was just a way to get home. For boys, it was a place to play, to hang out, to own. You see, society sends us these little messages from day one. Boys get cars, girls get dolls. We tell boys to be tough and girls to be soft-spoken. And these aren't just small things, you know? They build the entire foundation for the different futures, the different jobs, and even the different value we're assigned as adults.
And that brings us right back around to Harmeet's mother and that whole idea of not working. So let's pull back the curtain on this invisible job that so many people, overwhelmingly women, do every single day.
And just to be clear, this isn't just a local thing. This is a global pattern. All across the world, the heavy lifting of looking after the home, the kids, the elderly, it mainly falls on women. And because it doesn't come with a paycheck, our society just kind of assumes it has less value.
But this slide really shows just how wrong that assumption is. I mean, housework isn't just a bit of light dusting. In huge parts of the world, it means carrying heavy loads of water and firewood for miles. It's constant bending, lifting, and standing for hours over a hot stove. It is physically grueling work, and it is incredibly time-consuming. And this is the voice of Milani, a domestic worker in Delhi. Her question just cuts right to the heart of it all. Can you imagine working from 5 in the morning until late at night, doing truly backbreaking labor? And the thing that stings the most is the lack of respect. It's this feeling of being completely and totally devalued. So we have this devalued, invisible work that happens inside the home. But what happens when women also work outside the home for pay? Well, that leads to a phenomenon that researchers have a name for, the double burden.
It's pretty much exactly what it sounds like, a double workload. It's the day-to-day reality for millions of women who work a full day for a salary and then come home only to start their second, unpaid shift of cooking, cleaning, and caregiving.
Let's look at the numbers because the data is just fascinating. This study from India tells a huge story. In Haryana, women spend about 23 hours a week in paid work, but a staggering 30 hours on unpaid housework. Now compare that to the men, 38 paid hours and just 2 unpaid hours. That disparity is absolutely enormous. And this chart just makes it crystal clear. When you add it all up, the paid and the unpaid, women in Haryana are working 53 hours a week, men are working 40. That so-called invisible work completely flips the script on who is actually working more. Okay, so we've established housework is real work, and it creates this massive double burden. So what's the solution? This isn't something that just one family can solve on their own. This is a much bigger systemic problem. Right, this inequality is literally baked into the systems of our society. And if it's a systemic problem, it's got to have systemic solutions. And that's really where governments have a huge role to play in helping to level the playing field. And governments can take real concrete steps. First, just by officially recognizing that the burden of childcare and housework falls way more on women and girls. And then by taking action, like setting up village childcare centers, or Anganwadis, and passing laws that require bigger companies to provide daycare. These kinds of actions make it possible for more women to work and for more girls to actually stay in school. So we'll end where we began. But I want to leave you with a question. Think about that story of Hermit's family and the total chaos that happened when his mom went on strike. Now, what would actually happen in your own home, in your life, if that happened for just one day? It's a powerful thought, isn't it? And it really reveals just how valuable all this invisible work truly is.